Please join me in prayer. Creator, this morning as we gather to worship on the sacred, unceded lands of the Coast Salish peoples, please, God, help me to feel gratitude for their hospitality and great spirit. Please help me to fully understand how this land acknowledgement can bring about change and dialogue and acceptance among your children. Amen. I grew up in a medium-sized resource-based town on Vancouver Island, Port Alberni, Canada's highest per capita income, where peoples enjoyed all the toys of a rich union town, a big truck for dad, mom's car, and speedboats, a cabin at the lake. We were rich. Everyone had their own home. The good life, but not for everyone. Our property bordered on one of the poorest reserves in Canada, called Polly's Point, where there was hardship and great poverty. The bounty of land, the timber, the bounties of the ocean, the fish were not shared equally. And there was resentment, fear, and separation. There was not a dialogue. There was also a residential school across the river, just on the outskirts of town, which had been administered for years by the United Church. And once again, there was very little dialogue. We were told at Sunday school that those kids were here going to school because there were no schools on their reserves. That's what we were told. We were divided still. They stayed there up until grade 10. When they came to the high school in grade 11, where we all were there, everybody from the valley, there simply were not many of them left. They had gone by the time it got to grade 10. And even if they were in school with us, they're still kept separate. They weren't allowed to stay after school and be in sports. They had to go back to boarding school. No dialogue. Again, separation. That's how it was. That's how it was then. But things are changing, and they're changing rapidly as our Indigenous brothers and sisters embrace their cultural identity and develop economic opportunities on their own lands. Are we supportive? Are we open to dialogue? Are we listening? Do we have fear in our hearts? Do I have fear in my heart of things changing quickly? As well as acknowledging unceded lands, perhaps we can be more intentionally inclusive as we open our hearts and doors to other faiths and cultures. Thank you.